Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered his cabinet to open talks with Lebanon. Discussions will focus on disarming the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran. Multiple Israeli strikes against Lebanon have cast doubt on the two-week ceasefire agreed between the U.S. and Iran. Israel is insisting the existing deal does not cover Lebanon, while Iran says Israel's northern neighbor is an inseparable part of the ceasefire.
In the aftermath of Wednesday's airstrikes, rescuers picked through the rubble for any survivors. It was the heaviest round of Israeli strikes on Lebanon since the start of the current conflict with Hezbollah. Hundreds were killed and hundreds more wounded. Israel says it targeted more than 100 Hezbollah sites across Lebanon within about 10 minutes. Reports say evacuation warnings were issued in some areas, but not in all.
I can't tell you how intense it was, how terrifying, how scary. The sound was very loud, terrifying, and honestly very scary.
The attacks came despite the announcement of a two-week ceasefire between the US, Israel and Iran. The US and Israel say that Lebanon was not included in the truce. But Iran and Pakistan, which brokered the deal, say that it was. Tehran says it will not abandon the Lebanese people and has warned of strong responses to violations of the truce. All of which seemingly leaves Lebanon in limbo, apparently both with and without a ceasefire, as people here are forced to live in the shadow of a war beyond their control.
DW's Beirut Bureau Chief Mohammed Shreite witnessed the Israeli airstrikes on the Lebanese capital.
Today is a national day of mourning following the massive Israeli attacks on several locations across central Beirut and other parts of the country, the south and east of Lebanon. What you see behind me is one of the sites in central Beirut that has been hit by an Israeli strikes. As you see, the rescue mission is still underway. The rescuers told us at least 2 people are believed to be still under the rubble. These strikes were unprecedented and unexpected in Beirut. And I say unexpected because we've never seen central Beirut being pounded as such. And because it happened in the rush hour where people were moving around the city, and it came without prior warning from Israel, as we've seen in other pattern of bombardments to Beirut. So it was an unprecedented, unexpected attack. And during the rush hour, that explains the rising number of casualties. More than 200 have been reportedly killed, according to the Lebanese health minister, and at least 900 others injured. Hospitals across Lebanon are overwhelmed dealing with this high number of casualties. The scenes of frustration and the scene of uncertainty is all over the city. I can still smell gunpowders. I don't know if you can hear Israeli drones also hovering overhead all the time as Beirut is trying to recover from this deadly attack yesterday.
Well, let's take a closer look at this now with Aaron David Miller. He's a fellow with the Carnegie Foundation for International Peace in Washington, focusing on U.S. foreign policy and the Middle East. Aaron, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's authorized direct negotiations between his country and Lebanon. He says the aim is to disarm Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants and establish relations between the two neighbors. What do you make of this?
Largely performative, a response to, I think, Trump administration pressure, at least the beginnings of Trump administration pressure. Look, you're not going to have serious negotiations, at the Department of State in Washington, between the Israeli ambassador here and the Lebanese ambassador here. They're not authorized to do negotiating in any serious way. If, in fact, there is progress, and by that I mean not disarming Hezbollah, that needs to be done, but the Lebanese government can't do it, and neither can the government of Israel. If there's going to be a stand down, a de-escalation of Israeli military activity, I think that's going to be increasingly the most salient focus in the days and weeks ahead. It's going to occur between a conversation between the current American President Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Just to be clear here, Hezbollah, the political wing at least, is part of the government in Lebanon. But does the government in Beirut really have any authority over Hezbollah's militia in Lebanon? Do you see any realistic chance of Hezbollah being disarmed?
No. Lebanon has been a colony, sadly, tragically, of the Islamic Republic for quite some time. And Hezbollah, as well as the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon in Beirut, has been the sort of consul general orchestrating and administrating that policy. The Lebanese government has well intentions. It's gone further in terms of its declarations, its political pressure on Hezbollah than any Lebanese government has gone. But it is not prepared, neither is the head of the Lebanese Armed Forces, the LAF, prepared to forcibly try to dismantle Hezbollah. The Israelis can't do it either. Their experience in Lebanon over the last 50 years has been incredibly unhappy, including creating a security zone in the wake of the assassination of the Israeli ambassador to London, Shlomo Argov, in June, July 1982. There was an Israeli invasion. And I think that story in Lebanon is going to end unhappily, largely for the Lebanese civilian population, particularly in the south, but not just in the south, and for the border residents of Israel's communities in the north. The real salience of all this has nothing to do with Lebanon. It has to do with the Iranian-U.S.-Israeli ceasefire and whether or not the Iranians make de-escalation or the end of Israeli military activities in Lebanon a condition for serious negotiations to implement this fraught and fragile ceasefire. It's a terrible tragedy for Lebanese civilians, what we've witnessed. But the real importance of this is really nothing to do with Lebanon. It has to do with the U.S. war with Iran.
So what do you think, Aaron, is Israel's strategy here in offering these talks? Is this offer of talks really just a bluff, or can we expect anything to be achieved at all with such talks?
Nothing will come from these negotiations. As I mentioned before, the core conversation and negotiation is going to have to be, if it comes, between the Prime Minister of Israel and the President of the United States. And that's going to depend. Look, if Donald Trump called Netanyahu and said, look, the Iranians are prepared to open the straits, but their condition is that you stand down, you de-escalate in Lebanon, I'm not sure the Prime Minister would have much of a choice. Netanyahu needs Donald Trump for his most important enterprise in 2026, which is getting reelected Prime Minister of Israel. Those elections, if the government goes to term, will be in October, but they probably will occur sooner. He cannot cross Donald Trump. Full stop.
Israel's massive strikes on Lebanon over the past day and a half have angered Iran to the point that it has effectively closed the Strait of Hormuz again. Is Israel intentionally trying to sabotage the ceasefire deal with Iran?
The straits were never opened. Let's be clear. The Iranians decide on preferential access. Who gets in, who gets out, what tolls do they pay, if any? Do I think that the government of Israel is willfully, intentionally sabotaging Donald Trump's determination to get out of this war? If the Americans had any indication that that was the case, I think you'd see a severe reaction in Washington. Right now, my read is, if Trump discerns that the Iranians are interested in opening the straits, and they have no urgency now, they think they're winning. And frankly, objectively speaking, they are. So Trump will pressure Israel if two things happen. Number one, the Iranians appear to be serious about reopening the straits. And number two, the Iranians say to Trump, look, if you want us to open the straits, and if you want out of this war, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you got to get the Israelis to do something about standing down in Lebanon. That's how it's going to work. If Iran is not serious about it, reopening the straits, and frankly, right now, there's no indication that they are, I'm not sure how much pressure you're going to see from Donald Trump. on Israel.
Aaron, thank you very much for speaking with us today. That was Aaron David Miller from the Carnegie Foundation for International Peace.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Take care.